Hello, everyone. This is the Parks Academy, where we discuss and celebrate all things theme parks related. We focus mainly on Disney parks and resorts in both Anaheim and Orlando. My name is Paige.
My name is Steven.
And today we will be starting a mini-series about the history of popular Disney snacks.
What's funny about this is that we talked about doing this a couple of weeks ago. We're talking about churros. And then we said we should do something about it. And now we're like doing something about it. So
We sure are.
Wow, you're like taking off your earrings. You're ready for this, huh?
That's because my earrings are jingling and I don't want those sounds to be on the show.
I thought you wanted like nothing to...
Nothing holding me back.
Nothing holding you back. Nothing cumbersome. Just total freedom in this educational endeavor of snacks.
Nope, these are just my earrings I wore to work, and they're a little bit too jingly for my liking.
So we've done our last series that we did was the Artist Spotlight series, and this one I feel like we need to call it something. I think like the Parks Academy Podsnacks would be really good.
I like Podsnacks.
Yeah, I think the Snacks Academy is too obvious, so I'm probably going to change out our graphic for this one.
Snacks Academy, Podsnacks. Podsnacks kind of sounds like
Podsnacks.
Like it would be in Star Wars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, kind of. Pods. Yeah.
Like it sounds like a Star Wars term.
Now that's pod snacking.
See, there you go.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah.
Snacks Academy.
Yeah. Snacks Academy is just a little bit too much.
Yeah. I like both of them. We'll see which way the wind blows.
We've also sort of talked about how we need to live up to our name because we have the word Academy in our name. And one of the things that I hope differentiates us from other shows about Disney is we don't, like, it would be really, really easy for us just to talk about the Maleficent dragon catching on fire, you know?
Right.
Or like news, but we don't really do that. We want to try to bring in, not that it's not valuable, but we want to try to bring, we're not a news show.
Sure.
We want to bring in like valuable information. That's not something that you would hear, on any Disney like news source.
Right. And there are plenty of really great Disney news sources out there.
Don't get me wrong. That's just not our lane.
Right. We don't need to take over that space or just, like add more to that because there's so many great Disney news sources out there. Like if you're listening to this show, it's probably because you love Disney and Disney parks, and you probably have a different podcast or a different account that you follow that gives you a lot of Disney news. We sometimes bring up Disney news if it's relevant to what we're excited about, or but what we're going to really dive into with this mini-series is the history of some of these popular Disney snacks.
This is going to be fun, I
think. They came from, their origins in general, their origins in the Disney parks, and then some sort of like information about where to find them in the Disney parks and the differences between Disneyland and Disney World.
I love it.
We've got a lot of great stuff for you today.
What are you excited about this week?
Oh, goodness gracious.
Did you not come prepared? Because I have one like right off the dome.
I came so prepared for the Podsnacks that I did not even consider what I'm excited about this week.
The Warriors beat the Kings in the NBA playoffs first round.
We need a little...
Steph put up 50 points.
We need a little like ESPN jingle before we share sports news.
Curry put up 50 points, most ever in any Game 7. Big deal. So huge game. On to the Lakers.
The Orioles are playing really well.
Yes, they are.
Is that what I'm excited about? That's what I'm excited about.
That's fair.
They had a fantastic month of April.
That's cool. Yeah, they did.
They're still rolling.
I'm actually looking at an Adley Rutschman picture, like literally within a foot away from me, that your dad gave me.
Bless.
For my birthday, and I think it's great.
It is great.
I need to find a place to put it.
I know.
But it's awesome.
So many sports.
All right, you want to just dive right into it?
Let's dive on in.
All right, here we go.
So today we are going to start with churros, one of the most beloved snacks that when you think of churros, you probably think of Disneyland or Walt Disney World. And so I'm going to give a little bit of history and background about churros in general. I'm going to talk about the history of how it started in Disneyland. And then I also have some fun questions for Steven about churros and some fun snacks trivia questions when we get here to the end.
I'm into it.
So kind of throughout this process, it's going to be educational, hopefully for you guys, but also it'll be a good chance for kind of Steven to hear this for the first time. So I'm educating him live on the pod, and he'll be able to kind of add in some thoughts or commentary or, wow, I didn't know that.
Wow.
All right. So let's start with the history of churros. Steven, if you had to guess, where do you think churros originated?
I'm going to say San Francisco, right next to the fortune cookie plant, which is where fortune cookies actually originated, was in San Francisco.
For real?
Yeah, you knew that.
Like the history of fortune cookies?
Yeah, they were created in San Francisco.
They started in the United States of America?
That is exactly correct, yes.
I never in a million years would have known that.
Well, I'm pretty sure we watch Amazing Race together every year.
We do.
And they talked about it on there. And I've been there before, actually.
You know how many things I remember from TV and movies?
Like 0.
And do you know how many things you remember from TV and movies?
So yeah, that's my guess. I would say San Francisco, right next to where fortune cookies were invented. All
right, let's see how wrong Steven was here. Because there's not really one correct answer for this, and you'll see in just a second. So for those of you who don't know, obviously, we got to start with what a churro is. So a churro is a fried dough made with choux pastry. If you've watched the Great British Baking Show, then you will know what choux pastry is. Piped into usually a line or sometimes into a circle. And it usually has a star shape with the piping bag. So that's why it has the shape that it has. It's made with water, butter, salt, and cinnamon, as well as flour, eggs, sugar, and vegetable oil. And we know that this is Disney's recipe because they actually released their recipe to the public in 2020. Thank you, COVID, when everyone was trapped at home and wanted to make Disney snacks.
I know you're going to get to this, but I'm going to just jump in for a second. Then why do Disney World and Disneyland's churros taste different?
As a matter of fact, I will get to
It's like New York water is my guess, but keep going.
You'll see in just a little while. So, the origins of churros. This is a hotly debated question from many food people.
Foodies.
Yeah, I don't know what to call them.
Food bloggers.
Food people.
Foodstagram.
People that enjoy food, which is most people. It was thought to have originated in Spanish and Portuguese cuisine. There are other theories that point to origins in China, but there's the most interesting theory is that it dates back to the 1st century in both Roman and ancient Greek culture.
Jeez.
But it wasn't called a churro, obviously.
Were they deep frying stuff back then?
It probably wasn't called deep frying, and they were probably doing this differently. But they could have boiled a pot of oil, right?
Which is deep frying, yeah.
And dropped in water and flour and sugar. Like, none of these are current ingredients. It's all ingredients that have been around forever.
Right.
And so they referred to these as a flour and water fritter way back in ancient Roman and ancient Greek times.
Interesting.
But it appears that based on what was passed down was the same ingredients, same process. So could the churros be super, super old?
Disney's,
1st century AD?
Disney's oldest snack.
Dang. This is why we're starting with churros. So we'll see. But that's sort of the origins of churros in general.
Okay.
Now, when we're talking the history of Disney churros, we're going to jump to the summer of 1985. Videopolis. Are you familiar with Videopolis? If you're not,
no.
I have some information about it.
I'm not.
Don't you worry.
Yeah, I'm sure. This is like Paige is an educator, so this is... I kind of feel like I'm in class and maybe I made a mistake telling her yesterday on our way back from New York to research everything she could about churros.
Yes.
But I'm into it, so keep going.
I went down a rabbit hole, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So Videopolis is set to open as a teen hangout area in Fantasyland.
Yes, I heard this on Defunct Land.
Okay, yes.
I know about this.
A gentleman named Jim Lohman, I'm not sure. I didn't hear his name, I read it.
I wasn't there when he was born.
He was in charge of food and beverage in Disney, overseeing the Fantasyland area, and so he was helping to come up with ideas for Videopolis. While he was in charge of this project, he went to the Long Beach Grand Prix and saw a churro booth. Now, the interesting thing about this is he ended up finding a box, like a used box, that had it was empty.
Okay.
It had the title of the snack company where the churros came from. It was called J&J Snack Foods out of New Jersey. And so he contacted the company because he was like, these churros are a great walking snack for people.
Sure.
This would be perfect for Videopolis.
Mm-hmm.
He contacts the company, J&J Snack Foods, and asks, do you want to work with Disneyland? And they're like, duh, of course.
Right, of course.
Why would we not want to? So they agree. However, the churros that were sold at the churro booth at the Grand Prix were just small, like 6-inch churros.
Sweet.
So then
that's like one bite.
What he said was that's like the equivalent of eating like 2 pieces of popcorn.
Yeah, that's literally one bite.
Obviously, he was being a little exaggerated there, but a 6-inch churro is nothing compared to the 12-inch churro that you now see in the Disney parks. Okay. So he said, hey, let's double the size of these churros. I want it to be a worthwhile snack for these teens. So he tests the churros in Disneyland in a cart near the Mark Twain Riverboat drop-off area. Because he's like, that's a high-traffic area over in... And so people, the day that they brought the cart out, people were lined up for them.
Right.
Now, they didn't advertise these ahead of time. Yeah. People didn't know they were coming. People might not have even knew what they were. Mm-hmm. But they were following the cart through the park.
The scent, you know?
I guess they smelled the cinnamon sugar.
Scent of an apple pie and like floating to the windowsill, right? Yeah.
So
just like that.
Legend goes that they sold out in the first day and these things were going to be a hit. So that was his test before Videopolis opened. Then when they opened Videopolis later that summer, there were 2 churro stands inside. And now, as you know, there are churro carts all over Disneyland.
Yeah, everywhere.
So previously, when all of these churro carts popped up all over Disneyland, the churros were warmed with propane tanks. There were like 6 propane tanks that they would need to just heat these things up. Yeah. But that was super costly because the propane would run out. I mean, think about if you had to run your grill all day long with 6 propane tanks constantly pumping out food.
I mean, 1985, I don't know what they cost for inflation.
Well, I don't know either. But also, propane can explode. So that's a little bit dangerous to have.
Just like Maleficent's dragon and Phantasmic,
you know? Look at that. Yeah, so you have all of these issues with the cost and the dangers of having the propane tanks. So they switched those over to electric. They would heat up the churros in just a few minutes and then roll them in cinnamon and sugar. And so that's why they're so fresh from those carts, is because they're heating them up and then they're rolling them right there on the spot, right? A little bit of Videopolis information for those of you who don't know. By the way, okay, but here's why. Because
MTV in the 80s?
It was appealing to the MTV generation, right?
I'm on it, yeah.
So it was designed to be a dance club for teens where they were playing music videos.
Yeah. No, I remember.
The reason that they did this was, one, they were playing to the MTV generation because music videos were huge. Yep. And the teenage audience is what Disney really struggled with at this time. So they had the families. There was no problem bringing parents and their kids to the parks. But the teenagers, there was not a lot for them that they saw were for them. Because if you think about it now, we have so many thrill rides at Disney. You would never think teens don't have anything to do there.
Yeah, well, and I mean, give a teen an iPhone or a camera.
And they'll just be an influencer.
They'll be fine. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So there's so much now that it's not a big deal. Yeah. Now, Videopolis also brought in several like top 40 artists doing live concerts there that they would then play on Disney Channel or play for different things. So 2 notable names that I saw on the list were Janet Jackson and New Kids on the Block, which there were also some other ones like Tiffany or other big 80s artists, but those were 2 that I was like, they really had really big names. Yeah. Videopolis actually closed in 1989 after there were several really prominent gang-related incidents in Videopolis. Yep.
Okay.
So then they just changed it to a stage for theater purposes.
Yeah.
And then they revived it in 2020 for that 80s After Hours event that they did.
Yep.
So when they were trying to do all of the 80s decor and 80s throwback looks and the Minnie and Mickey in all their 80s attire, they redid it as Videopolis so people could really experience what that would have been like in the 80s, which I thought is a really cool thing to bring that back. So if you've been to Disneyland, or you've been in the last 30 years, you would know this now as the Fantasyland Theater.
Yes.
So there's been several things that have been in there. There was a Pocahontas show in there. They did the Beauty and the Beast live on stage.
Tinkerbell occupied it for a while.
I don't remember seeing that one, but I know there were a lot of stage shows that they had used in there. So that is the history of Videopolis a little bit as to where the churros originated in Disneyland.
Okay.
Now I want to talk a little bit about how far we've come from that opening churros in Disneyland. So
hit me.
Obviously, there was one churro flavor with cinnamon and sugar.
As God intended, frankly.
12-inch churros, standard everywhere. You have the churro carts everywhere. Then they kind of messed around with dipping sauces a little bit, chocolate or caramel.
Yeah.
And those came and went, and now you can still find them at most places. But now, in the year of our good Lord, 2023, we've got seasonal churros.
Boo.
Holiday churros, special event churros, and the original churros that you can find in most places. We've got a variety of flavors of the actual churros, different dipping sauces, different decorations. It's just gone craziness.
They have May the 4th is going to be in 3 days, and they have the lightsaber churros.
You better believe I wrote about the lightsaber churros.
I know. I talked about them last year on May the 4th on my singles person.
Those are really cute.
I talked about it on May the 4th singles episode.
Your singles episode? Yeah. That was for all you Star Wars lovers out there.
It was terrible. That was like early podcast days.
It was great.
And I was like, I got to talk about May the 4th. And I just basically read an article.
It was great.
Those were the days though, you know?
I was at work. You were just doing your thing. Good times. Yeah, so we've got
all kinds of different churros, different sort of
flavors,
things,
dipping
toppings.
sauces, decorations, yada yada. So dipping sauces, like I said, chocolate, caramel. The chocolate marshmallow dipping sauce is also a very popular one that comes and goes. There's, ones that go with some of the seasonal options. Like there was a confetti one, there was a mint chip one.
How do you feel about that? Like decorative churros? I don't want anything to do with it.
It depends. It depends on the churro.
Yeah.
And I will ask you some targeted churro questions.
Okay.
To hear your true facts of truth.
Is one of your questions going to be how many churros if I bought at one time?
No, but
the answer to that would be 6.
But what is the answer? 6 churros. The regular original churros, you had 6 of them?
Yeah, I was in Disney and I bought 6 of them.
For yourself, not to share.
I was 19.
When your metabolism was that of a 19-year-old boy. Well done.
6. I just walked around with them and just nom, 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 nom.
Well done, my friend.
You know?
My very first churro, I'm fairly certain, was in Disneyland in 2016.
I had to have bought you one because that was
my
whole thing.
You literally, I think that was the first churro I've ever had.
Amazing. So good.
Isn't that
I usually
crazy?
like to get them in New Orleans Square. I don't know why. That's just kind of where
You're
it feels
answering
best.
all my questions.
Okay.
You're jumping ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry.
I have a little bit more about current churros, just to give the people the information. So we talked about dipping sauces. Some of the flavors that you can currently find, this is changing all the time, guys. So, my information could be from a churro that ended last week. But most recently, some of the flavors that they've had were berry cheesecake, sweet and sour, ew.
What?
Caliente, also ew.
Yeah. Pass.
Tiramisu. Think of a flavor, they
Pass.
probably have tried it. And then some of the designs currently that we've seen in the last month or two. The Disney 100 has a special churro, and that one is topped with cherry sugar, white icing, and those little silver and purple edible pearls. So it really is Disney 100 looking. And then Women's History Month, there was one that they had. Those were sort of like the churros that lay in the little paper container. And then the Star Wars lightsaber ones as well, which is the red and the blue.
Yeah.
And there's the 2 that they've made them look like lightsabers. They always are advertised crisscrossed, like it's in some sort of lightsaber battle? Duel?
Yeah.
What is it when it's lightsabers?
A lightsaber duel or battle.
Duel.
Whatever.
Is duel wands? Battle
no, because you can say, because,
lightsabers?
here we go. Because Duel of the Fates is one of the songs on, oh my gosh, if I get this wrong, I want to say Duel of the Fates is episode 3 of Mustafar.
Do you know where my lightsaber knowledge comes from?
Me.
It actually comes from Ned from 17 Again.
Perfect. So you're talking about all of these like different toppings and stuff, and there's this book by Peter Walsh called It's All Too Much. And that's how I feel about all the toppings. It's all too much.
There are a whole lot of
How
toppings.
to live a richer life with less. Churro edition.
There you go.
You know?
You write a book.
It's so gross.
There's a lot that churros have become.
The only type of churro that is cute that I like is when I'm at a restaurant, like a Mexican restaurant specifically, and they bring it out. It's kind of like sitting in ice cream, or there's like whipped cream on top.
Right.
But I just don't want to get cute with my churros when I'm in Disney, you know?
Right. Just a standard original churro.
I'm going to end up eating it on a trash can.
Yeah.
And getting like chocolate everywhere. I get
stinks. I get it.
Yeah.
So my last few things about churros here. The difference between Disneyland and Walt Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
You're all dying to know.
Yeah. I want to know, actually.
They do taste different. This has been confirmed by multiple sources. I'm not making this up.
No, this is a real thing. I mean,
like people actually say they taste different.
And Disneyland is far better.
So one of the differences in Walt Disney World also, other than the taste, is that they're not as readily available because you don't have just churro carts every which spot.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to certain parks, there are like certain places to go for churros.
Mm-hmm.
So Disney Springs usually has a decent amount of churro options. Mm-hmm. Some of the restaurants, the notable restaurants in the parks have churros. One really interesting thing that I found is that a lot of people's complaints about the Walt Disney World churros were that they tasted stale.
Yeah.
And cold.
I was literally actually going to say that my complaint about churros in Disney World is that they are soft.
So
you want like a little bit of a crunch to them.
Yes.
You know?
Here's what people want. They want the crunch on the outside and the gooey on the inside, but not so gooey that it's raw.
No, it's like
gooey
it's very,
that
very
it's
soft.
fresh.
It's like biting into a Krispy Kreme donut.
Correct.
So
here's what I found.
Okay.
They're not fresh.
What did Bob Chapek do this time?
They're not fresh. So you know how in the carts in Disneyland,
they like make them right
they're
there.
constantly pumping them out because they have all these carts around there. Yeah. They're rolling the churros right there, heating them up, rolling them in the cinnamon sugar, handing them to you.
Mm-hmm.
Are the ones in Walt Disney World all pre-made and then just like kept in a warmer?
That sucks.
And served to you?
That stinks.
That is sort of both a question and a statement because that's what I found.
So you're telling me that that's gross, actually.
So they just like make them all in the morning and keep them in a warmer, like I'm going to a concession stand at a baseball game?
I don't know. Or they have them shipped in and they're frozen.
I don't know.
Which would also be kind of gross.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, that stinks. When we were in college, one of my few delights when we went to football games, go teams, was that they had funnel cake stands. You could watch them like squirt the funnel cake into the hot batter and then bring them out, and they were just scorching hot. And that's what I want in a fattening treat, you know? Like, and even the jankiest affairs get it right.
I know.
So
I know.
That's not an excuse for a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yep. So here's a fun fact for you Disney World folks.
That was not a complaint, by the way.
I know it wasn't.
It was just more of a fact.
It's a general rule of thumb that people say the Disneyland ones are better.
Right.
So here's a little secret. Here's a little bit of inside baseball.
Yeah.
If you want fresh, hot and ready churros in Walt Disney World, you need to go to Disney's Animal Kingdom and have yourself a seat at the Nomad Lounge.
Okay.
Those are said to be the only fresh churros in Walt Disney World.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just don't want to have a task. And that sounds like a whole task. However, you got to get reservations.
We always go to the Nomad Lounge.
I understand that, but if you want a good churro, you should just be able to walk up to it. Like how if I want a Dole Whip, spoilers for the future, I just want to go get one. You know, I don't want to have to like.
Oh, I get it.
Make a reservation. I just want it to be readily available.
I totally
I'll
get
wait
it.
in line. I just don't want to.
I'm just trying to save the people from stale churros.
That stinks, honestly.
So if you are a Disneyland person, or you've never been to Disneyland and had their really great churros, and you're in Walt Disney World or you go there, and you would like a fresh churro to know what real Disney churros should be, go to the Nomad Lounge. Also, little fun fact here, for all our gluten-free people, Nomad Lounge actually does serve gluten-free churros as well.
Okay.
They
That's
may
nice
be
for,
the only
you know.
gluten-free churros in Walt Disney World. Question mark, question mark.
Yeah, that's
Not
nice, though.
positive about that, but I'm pretty certain in the research that
Mhm.
I did, which was a lot,
Yeah.
that's like a staple.
We had a 5-hour car ride, and you were pretty much in on it the
Yes.
whole time.
Well, when I'm given a task,
Mhm.
I'm all in, dude.
And you're better. This is a compliment. If I told you, like, I would like to do this at some point, but if I told you, like, design a ride and a new gate and everything, you'd have to really think about it. But if I tell you to do research, like, you'll have a bibliography and everything
I
ready to
will.
go.
With my citations included.
Exactly.
Which I will make sure that I shout out my information sources.
Yeah, we can put them in the show notes for sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Because I have those as well. Can't be stealing people's info. So those are my tips and the history of churros and the history of churros in Disneyland.
Okay.
What I could not find any definitive information, no matter how I worded it or searched it, was when specifically churros made their way to Walt Disney World. So what I'm assuming is, since Disneyland debuted them in 1985, since Disney World was already open, I would assume that once they saw them take off, they just started serving them. Right.
Yeah.
That it was just some other time in 85 or 86. But I cannot find in any history of churros article, in any blog post, in any Walt Disney World source, like a debut for Walt Disney World churros. It seems like it just was synonymous with Disneyland
Yeah, that could
churros.
be. I mean, that could be.
And if you're curious about how much a churro would run you, because I know that people like to complain about how expensive Disney is, these suckers are usually around $6 to $7 a piece. Some can be a little cheaper. Yeah. The ones at Nomad Lounge, I believe, can be upwards of $9 because these are not well, here's the thing. The ones at Nomad Lounge are not like one 12-inch churro.
Yeah.
It's like a basket of churros with a variety of dipping sauces.
See, I'm into that. If I'm sitting down and having an experience, give me all the sauces.
Right.
You know, chocolate, raspberry, stuff like that.
Yes, so it's like a little variety of sauces and then a little basket with a couple of the smaller churros in it. Perfect. So $9. I mean,
we haven't had those before, Nomad, have we?
We've not. But now we know the secret.
Now we know. Okay, cool.
And now you all know the
rad.
secret
I'm into
too.
That.
So let's talk a little bit about our favorite and least favorite churro things. So like I said, I think my first Disney churro was legitimately at the Cozy Cone Motel in Disneyland in 2016.
I remember that very well. And I was eating a Ghirardelli ice cream.
Yes, you were. So, Steven, what is your favorite place to get churros, even though you already answered this?
Yeah, so the most memorable one for me has to be near New Orleans Square in Disneyland, right across from, the waterfront. There's usually one there, kind of in between Pirates and Haunted Mansion, and that's where I like to get them. That's also where I spent like $30 on churros.
Yep.
They were only like less than $5 when I bought these, because that was like over a decade ago now.
Yep. And $5 was pretty standard there for a while for churros. I have two places that I would say I like to get churros from, and I'm talking Disneyland specifically because again, Walt Disney World, it doesn't stick out in my head. I don't ever remember getting churros when I was growing up in Walt Disney World. But when we started going to Disneyland after we got married, that was sort of just like every time we would get churros.
Yeah, it was your churro awakening.
Yes. So the Cozy Cone Motel, because of that was where I remember having one for the first time.
And it was at night when you got it, right?
Yes, and I love Cars Land.
Yeah, so good.
I love spending time in Cars Land. So there's just something about, it could have been any Disney treat, ice cream, Mickey bar, pretzel, whatever it is. There's just something that like clicked in me as a core memory about having my first churro in Cars Land. The other place that I just like the location and I think the theming is really cute is Senor Buzz Churros on Pixar Pier.
Yes.
I just think it's a cute little, I think it's a really funny, cute little stand. Now at Senor Buzz Churros, they serve the Caliente
the spicy
churro.
Boys. Yeah.
Ew.
I've seen those. I ate at Angry Dogs when we were there.
Yes.
And I saw the Caliente churros and I just could not do it.
That just sounds really gross to me.
There's this thing for me where I like so much of my whole life is built on just terrible nostalgia. And so doing something in a different space just feels wrong to me. So I can't really even parse. I guess I could get a churro in like Fantasyland or Main Street USA or something, or right in like the Rotunda area.
Yep.
But I don't see myself ever getting one outside of there.
Yeah,
It's strange. It's strange, but
I can see that.
You know, I'm just as God made me, sir.
There you go. There you
You
go.
know?
Right, next question.
Okay.
What, and you might have to look these up.
Oh my gosh. Let me get my typing fingers ready.
What flavor churro would you most like to try that you have not had? So while you're thinking and looking, I will say the one that I would most like to try, because this is one of my favorite snack/dessert foods of all times, is the s'mores churro. It is covered in crushed graham cracker. It's served with that marshmallow and chocolate dipping sauce.
Yeah.
That just sounds really delightful. Not too overwhelming, not too different from like a traditional s'more. And so there's nothing fancy or crazy. It's just like basically cinnamon sugar dough with chocolate, marshmallow, and graham cracker. So I think that sounds amazing.
Yeah. I'm gonna say the berries and
the Star Wars ones.
I guess.
What flavors are they?
Well, I see on a very reliable source, Disney food blog. They just have one that looks like it. It's red and blue and it says berries and cream, but that doesn't really tickle my fancy, I don't think. All of them look gross. They have a green apple churro that looks not good. Blueberry, I don't want a blue mouth in Disney. No, thank you. PU. I don't know. It's really hard. I don't know. I guess I would try the lightsaber ones. I guess. I don't know what flavor they are, though.
As of last year, is here. The lightsaber churros.
It looks like
they were served with chocolate sauce. Let's see.
Crying out loud. I can't. I don't see any. You know.
So you just get to choose between red or blue. Is it just like sprinkles, maybe?
I don't.
And they're just served with. Oh, here we go. What do they taste like?
Yeah. So much.
Pretty much exactly like regular churros.
Okay, so I do a lightsaber one because it's a different theme, but it tastes the same. Which
right.
Is what
so it's probably just sprinkles of either red or blue, and then it comes with chocolate sauce.
You know.
Which one would you pick? Red or blue?
Red. Or sorry, blue. Sorry, blue. Blue
wow.
always blue.
Oh, okay.
So much of the internet is just like clickbait, you know?
You know it.
I clicked on an article to see, and it took me forever. Like, you can Command F it and find it. You know, tech tip. If you hit Command or Control F on your computer, you can search an article and find whatever word you want. But still, I can't. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, I guess I do the lightsaber ones. I do blue because even though, yeah, I resonate with the Jedi so much, you know.
There you go. All right. Next question. What flavor sounds absolutely horribly disgusting to you?
That green apple one I mentioned just a minute ago.
That one sounds the worst of all of them?
Well, I think there was one on this list that I'm looking at, this listicle here, and there was one that was it was like a you know, the mango one looks kind of raunchy to me.
Okay, are you ready for this?
With chili lime sugar and
My
stuff.
flavor that sounds the most terrible is at Willie's Churros. You can get a mango churro.
That's what
which is coated. I know, that's why I'm reading it.
Yeah.
Which is coated in a chili lime sugar and topped with tamarind chamoy and a mango sauce.
Mm-hmm.
And also chunks of mango on top.
I know that some folks love that kind of thing.
Ew.
There's a reason that like certain things like that are really popular, but
ew.
Again, it's like
part of it for me is the look of that churro looks like actual barf.
It kind of does.
It looks like barf chunks with hot sauce sprinkled on it.
We lost power in our house last night, and it scared the living dickens out of our dog. And she was like scratching under our bed at 2 a.m, and then she threw up everywhere, and it looks like that.
It does look like that. If you sprinkled hot sauce on our dog's puke, it would look like that mango churro.
Should we say why our dog is so afraid of scary things like that, like power going out or storms and stuff?
Well, the main reason being when we were driving on a road trip, we went through Anaheim and stayed right across from Disneyland. And we thought, oh, how fun would it be to go watch the fireworks show from out front of our hotel.
And we brought our dog with us.
We brought our dog, and she was so traumatized by the experience of the Disneyland fireworks that she ripped a hole in my shirt.
I'm going to post a picture of it in our show notes because bless her heart. She was so scared. Her eyes were bugging out of her head. And we didn't mean to scare her.
No.
It was stupid on our end. It was like,
we were young.
We're dumb millennials, and we thought our dog was our kid, and we were just like, oh, she would love fireworks, and we forgot that she's a dog.
We also didn't want to leave her in our room while we went to see fireworks, so that was part of the thing, is we were like, lesser of two evils. Do we want her to destroy our hotel room, or do we want to just bring her down and hope they're not too loud?
Well, bless her heart. We have a little thunder jacket that we can put her in when she gets nervous, and it kind of tightens up around her and keeps her feeling secure. So
yes, mango churros look like dog barf with hot sauce on them.
Yeah, those ones look kind of gross. I mean, I would stomach, I just don't know. It just, I don't, you know me. I just like simple.
I know. All right. So, are you ready for the Podsnacks trivia?
Is this like a quiz where, you know what? Hang on. Disney Springs has a Fruity Pebbles one. Hard pass.
Ew.
Okay.
I have 3 multiple choice questions
for
you.
Go for it. Yeah. Okay. Is it going to be like what I heard already, or is this new information?
I'm pretty certain you would not know these things off the top of your head.
Okay.
Well, this is not a pop quiz from my lesson today. Okay. If that's what you're asking for.
That's what I was asking.
Okay. No, these are 3 Disney snacks / food based trivia questions that have multiple choice because they would not be things you'd be able to just guesstimate.
Okay.
Okay.
Play along at home. Let us know what you got.
Yes. See how you did out of 3.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
Here's literally the worst thing. Okay, I have to remember what the correct answers are because I forgot to write which ones are correct.
Nailed it.
Okay, wait. No, I know. I remember. Okay. Number 1. How many pounds of turkey legs are sold at Disney every year? 500,000 pounds? 750,000 pounds? 1 million pounds? Or 2 million pounds?
Turkey legs?
Of turkey legs.
I thought we weren't doing our turkey leg episode till later.
This is Podsnacks trivia.
Okay. 500, a million, or 2 million?
500,000, 750,000, 1 million, or 2 million.
I'm gonna say 750.
Incorrect.
Is it 2 million?
It is 2 million pounds of turkey legs. Ew. Who is buying 2 million pounds of turkey legs?
Just in case Pete is listening to our show, I do not endorse that at all.
Ew.
That actually, when I think about 2 million pounds worth of blessed turkey legs, that actually stinks. I don't want to make anyone sad or mad. Like, I'm not a vegetarian, but that actually makes me a little bit sad to think about.
Also, turkey legs are kind of gross.
I don't even know if they're real turkey.
Like when it's hot outside.
Oh my gosh.
Ew.
I had a friend who went on Incredicoaster twice and then got a turkey leg. And
ew. Who decided that?
At this time, though, it was California Screamin'. He went on twice and then got a turkey leg, and he was laying down on the ground on at the time just the regular old pier, and he could hardly move.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. Weird order to do that in, huh?
That is weird.
All right, what's the trivia?
All right, next one.
Golly.
How many hamburgers do Disney guests consume every year? 5 million, 7 million, 10 million, or 12 million?
Let's do 12 million.
Guests consume 10 million hamburgers each year.
That's so many hamburgers.
And 6 million hot dogs.
Oh my gosh.
And 9 million pounds of French fries.
Wow.
Ew.
But if you divide that out, like, it's not that bad.
Well, because there are a ton of people.
I know.
All right, last question.
Okay,
are you ready?
Here we go. I'm 0 for 2.
You're 0 for 2. Come on, you can get one right. Disney World guests eat so much popcorn each year that it could fill which attraction? Tower of Terror, Space Mountain, Soarin', or Hall of Presidents?
I'm going to say Space Mountain because that's the biggest one. That's my answer.
Incorrect.
How's it Hall of Presidents?
It was Tower of Terror.
Okay.
Which, if you think about how tall it is, It's actually pretty big.
It is big, but it's narrowish.
Right.
And also, are we like filling up elevators?
I
and
think
are we filling
we're
up all the
filling the
rooms?
entire
or is it just
building.
Or is it just like no floors, just the entire like?
I think it's just the whole building.
You know. Okay. Well.
I mean, I didn't write the fun fact on mine.
Yeah.
But.
Well, 0 for 3 on trivia. I stink.
That's okay. We will have trivia each episode of our mini-series, so you will get a chance to redeem yourself.
Okay, great.
So that is my history of churros lesson.
Wow.
I hope you learned something or a lot of things.
I did learn a lot of things. That was good.
About the origins of churros, and you can decide which theory you'd like to believe. Is it from China? Is it from Spain or Portugal? Is it from ancient Rome or ancient Greece? The world may never know.
Yeah, I mean, if they find out, it should definitely be a marquee feature on Spaceship Earth.
It should be.
You know?
It should be.
Right along with like painting of the Sistine Chapel.
Yes. And churros were invented here.
Or 16th Chapel, as Justin Bieber would say on Letterman.
Yes. Perfect. Perfect. So yes, that's all I have for you. We will include some of the sources of my information from the history, because there's a lot of really great people that have written articles about the history.
We'll include
I want to make sure that we give
fireworks.
credit where credit is due. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that was fun. Thank you so much for doing that. And that is going to wrap it up for us, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We are really, really excited to be jumping onto this new segment here about Disney snacks and the history of them. And I think Paige is going to just go crazy doing the rest of these. Thank you to our sponsor, Deep Cut, for supporting the show. You guys can get 10% off your first order with Deep Cut using the code TPA10 at checkout. Of course, you can find us online at theparksacademypod.com. We are at the Parks Academy on Instagram. You can find us on TikTok, although we don't really do much on there anymore because I don't really use that. And if you'd like to support the show, find us on Patreon, where you can get access to early access to shows rather, and follow along with us there. And as always, thank you again, you guys, so much for listening. If you would be willing to provide us with a kind review or some nice thoughts on Apple Podcasts, we would greatly appreciate that. And of course, we'll read it on the show, share it with you all. Thank you again so much for listening. We really can't say enough how much your support means to us, and then just kind of seeing all our subscribers week after week increase, and it's a huge. It's really nice. It's a huge blessing to see that, and we are very, very appreciative of all of our listeners and fans out there. We will talk next week about whatever other snack Paige wants to get into, and until then, we will catch you next time.